Welcome to the start of a new anime series. This is a series that came out last year, known as The Great Jaw Will Not Be Defeated. Yes, this I'm discussing the first four episodes, but I'm only discussing the dub. I'm not going to do the sub at all. And this is going to come part of my anime series because, well, why not? It's made by Silver Lake, the same company that made, excuse me, that made Restaurant in the World. Basically, or Jahy as they pronounce her in the show. I've heard Ja because it's more simple to pronounce that way. She is the former in command of the Demon Lord, basically the right hand woman of that one, and her outfit is very skimpy, where it's like two straps to cover. It's basically the outfit. The best way to describe it, it's a rip off of Vampirilla's outfit. The only difference is she actually wears shorts compared to wearing like a freaking bikini. Yeah. And she describes very beautiful. And, well, they explain in a flashback where she was so powerful, she apparently got her own throne. So then we had this mysterious magical girl, which at this point, they have not revealed her name yet. It's referred to as simply the magical girl, who suspiciously has a staff that looks a lot like the staff that Sailor Moon uses for some reason. I don't know why. Where she basically goes to attack the castle where Jahy is, and jumps over her and destroys the crystal, starting events of the series. And apparently the Dark Realm is somewhat destroyed. So you have Jahy arriving in the real world with one crystal, and she's in child form. Yep. And she can go back to her doll form only when she has magic energy. The rest of the time, she is basically in child form, wearing nothing but a t-shirt and probably a pair of underwear. Yeah, and this is her normal attire, wearing like these characters on her shirt. The show itself reminds me a lot of a couple other series I've watched. One of whom happened to be Uzuki-chan's Hangout. The other one is Don't Tomi's Nagro. Very similar idea with that one. And here's the thing with this one, when it comes to this series. There is like no men this entire series. I read the manga, there's not a single guy pops up in the series. All women. So yes, third series anime discussing, and the entire cast is made up of women. Look, I have nothing against this. I was purely curious about it, and plus the name sounded interesting. So, we also have it where in these episodes, well, first episode anyways, she is staying at a rundown apartment building run by a very young landlady who's very beautiful, by the way, and she has to fight Jahy over paying rent. Where she basically trying to pay rent by wrestling her. At one point, putting her in the walls of Jericho in order for her to pay. And one time she basically, oh yeah, I heard sis pay you. Yeah, here's the thing. Her sister is Jahy's current boss, a owner of a pub. Yep, she works at a bar where she serves beer, food, stuff like that. She basically is a barmaid. Yeah, so it's also in episode 2, her former Daju, who used to dress as a goth girl, is now rich. Yes. Compared to Jahy, who's basically poor and barely living off basically whatever she's being paid. Oh yeah, and it's also revealed that she managed to save a handful of the pieces of the giant crystal that was destroyed in episode 1. And in episode 3, is apparently she's got a whole lot of pieces. Enough to fill a whole truck full of them. So, they meet each other in episode 2 a couple times. First, just by pure randomness on the street. Second time, basically, she meets them at her building where she lives at. And they go for tea at a very expensive restaurant, which, by the way, they go back to this restaurant. And then, just by weird coincidence, they meet each other again in episode 3. We meet at the restaurant Jahy works at, where Juicer is a former subordinate of hers. And by the way, in case you're curious though, does her boss know about her child form? Yes. She finds about this in episode 1. Yep, finds out in episode 1. Oh, in case you're curious though, what source material is this series based upon? Manga. Yep, manga. You might be thinking, wow, that's a bit different. Yes. In the course of 4 episodes, this series covers the first, like, 11 chapters. The first episode covers chapters 1, 3, 4, 2 covers 2 and 5, 3 covers 6 to 8, and 4 covers 9 to 11. And that's it. The only chapter not covered in these early episodes is chapter 13 for some strange reason. I have no idea. Actually, wait, it is covered. But they cover something later on. Actually, the other one, so yeah, that one's covered. So then we have where in episode 4, we have debut of a new character. It seems like every new episode of a new character. We have the debut of Savannah. Yes. Who's voiced by Brittany Lududa. Yes. Which I'm vaguely familiar with her. Yes. Aside from this series particularly, like, the only series I've seen her in that she's worked on has been, well, Goblin series. She's the voice of Cowgirl. I have not heard her dub yet, but I have watched the series. My wife is doing Council President. Yeah, they announced the dub, but they haven't released it for some reason. Super X Heroes. She's in One Piece. And that's it. That's literally all I've seen her in. And in the case of the boss, she's voiced by Natalie Rose. Yep, that's who voices her. And aside from this series, well, she is basically the voice of Katrina Donovan from One Piece. She's also in Another One More Smartphone. She's an Overlord. Card Captain Soccer, she was a Tamio. That's how my current is a Slime. Like, wow, 4 or 5 series already. Wow. Welcome Demon School Airmacon. Yeah, basically, it's basically Azzy's mom. Yes. There's also Quintessa Quintuplets. And that's it. Basically a small handful of series. Now, Jahy herself voiced an English dub by Lisette Monique Diaz. Yeah, this is one of those voice actors I have honestly never heard of her before. Nope. And aside from this series, the only series she's been in I've seen, I haven't watched that, I'm really interested in, is Skeleton at World, voicing Evan Marpole. And that's it. In the case of Druge, the former goth girl who lives basically as now a rich girl, she, of course, let's see. Well, she's in For Revolution. She's voiced of Luname. Yep, that's one series she's in. Let's see. Aside from this one and For Revolution, she's also in One Piece, but that is it. No, seriously, that's it. Now, in the case of her landlady, voice-wise sounds very similar to Jay Maraseri, but it's not her at all. Nope, it is not her. It's somebody else. His name is Susanna De Karma. And this is the only series I've heard her in. No, seriously. She basically is only on 3 frickin' series. Just Sorcerer, Stabber, Orphan, Bao Carmelok, and Daily Life of the Mortal King, and that is basically it. Yeah, it's like basically... Oh, in case you're curious though, who did that for this one? Funimation. Yes. That is basically... it's Crunchyroll. Yeah, basically... Crunchyroll's one, Dubs is one. And I'm curious. I thought it was kind of weird they waited a long time to dub this. Now, here's the thing. The series concluded back in December of last year. The dub didn't start until, like, well, I think this would be the 7th episode. Basically about 2 months ago. Why the heck they waited 6 freaking months to release the dub for this thing, I have no idea. Oh, and the thing with episode 4, it kind of feels like 2 stories this one. Now, in the case 2, you actually have Jahy looking for the monocrystal aside from running to her former subordinate, where she looks around, gets lost, loses her stuff, and ends up finding the big crystal that she's had in the next couple episodes finds it in a tree just happened to be her backyard. Yeah. And the landlady just randomly finds her and just takes it back home. So she's like, oh, you still owe me rent. Yeah. For basically Juice Sakura, where like, here's the, it feels like this one, it's got two stories with this one. Yes, first one discovered like this. Well, the first half is simply having her pose as Ja the whole time. Well, first basically trying to go after with some potion, and of course the dog drinks it, and ends up taking out the girl's coat and it started licking her face. Yeah. And I'm like, wow, dog assaulted a girl. Okay. And then she posing as her. Apparently she's a more reasonable. She works at a bar and pay the rent no problem. Despite the fact Josh usually very resistant against it. And apparently everybody else is basically not noticing that Ja is acting different than usual. Yeah. My only guess is the reason why is that someone didn't know him very long, so they probably think, oh, she's acting a little different today. But aside from that, they don't really much do anything with it at all. In the case of the second half of the episode, yes. And by the way, where was she the whole time? She was asleep. Yep, she was asleep. And basically, the second half is her running out of money and buying food because she's basically starving. So her boss decides to basically add to her pay a little bit of bonus for the next month's pay in order for her to have some spending money. Yep, that's simply what it was. Yep. But I gotta say, basically, that 4 episodes have been pretty decent so far, and I will be coming back to this series once I finish up a couple anime stuff I need to work on. First being Overlord, and then Harem of Lavender World, and I'll cap it. And when I finish those two up, then I'll come back to this series to pretty much watch the last 2 episodes released dubbed. Yeah, so that's it, particular view. Stay tuned for Overlord, which definitely be next because last night I did not get time, but tonight I will have time. Okay, next video. Bye.